Hey guys, so today I'm going to talk about trying to figure out what the parenting schedule is when it relates to your children, as far as, what do parenting schedules look like, the time, what's kind of some general guidelines. So that'll help you figure out what you need to do or what's best for you in your current situation. I'm Palace Athena, and I am a life coach that helps men and women navigate their new life path reality during and after divorce. So the first thing that I'm going to talk about is there's a difference between legal custody and physical custody. So most people out of the gate will automatically get 50-50 legal custody. Legal custody is all around major decisions such as school, medical care, religious preferences, that sort of thing. So the major decisions that can definitely impact the kid as far as their overall upbringing. Physical custody is the parent that actually has the child in their home and how much time do they have. So this conversation, we're going to talk about the physical custody arrangement, all right? So I'm going to break this up into sections. Now, a minor child, right, 0 to 18, okay? 18, they become an adult. So I'm going to break this up into 3 different segments. The first is the first third of their life, which is from born to age of 6, all right? Now, if you happen to be in that situation where the kid is 2 and under, then the recommended time is that the child doesn't go more than 2 days without seeing the other parent in a straight 50-50 custody, okay? Now, other than that, we're going to go basically up to the age of 6. And in that situation, there's a couple different things. First of all, there are, 2, 3, and then it just keeps revolving over. 2, 5, etc. Where it just kind of cycles through, and you have to keep track of that. There is also the option of a split week. So half the week it's with mom, half the week they're with dad. Those are all, good situations depending on what you want to do. And I'm going to speak to that here in a second. The other one, when we're looking at ages 7 through 12, at that point, you definitely want to go to a split week, or you want to go to something that, say, 5 days on with one parent, 2 days on with the other parent. And then the other option is you can alternate weeks. So week on, week off. Once they get to be a teenager, things start to get interesting, okay? When they hit 12, from a legal perspective, this is when judges will start to factor in if a child has a preference of where they want to live. So if you want to go back and revise it because the child clearly wants to live more time with one parent, then the judge will weigh that in consideration, okay? Once they become a teenager, especially once they're hitting around that 15, 16, 17, judges heavily are going to weigh their decision on where they want to live, regardless of kind of what you want to do. Because at that point, the judge is going to say, well, this is what the child wants. This is where the child feels more comfortable, and for whatever those reasons are. You can, at that point, go even longer, but, there are pros and cons. Now, what we're looking at when we talk about things like splitting time and how do you manage it, there's a couple different things. So, first of all, if you have a situation where you do 5 days with one parent, but only 2 with the other, oftentimes you may see something where maybe it's a weekend or something like that. At the end of the day, it truly is up to the 2 of you to figure out what that parenting plan is going to be and why. For example, you may have a husband that does a lot of travel for work, right? And in this divorce, he's kind of stuck between, well, I still have to travel for work, but I still want custody of my children. And at that point, he may want to do the weekend as far as, fine, wife can physically have custody more days during the week because otherwise he can't really commit to that due to work, and he gets them on the weekends. Now, the downside of that is the husband's going to pay a lot more in child support because of the mismatch of 50-50 custody time, okay? Because the wife otherwise, or ex-wife, has the child more. At the same time, the benefit is this. As the child is in school, if you are only doing the weekends, you're going to be the fun parent. All right. And what'll happen is the other person who has them 5 days a week is going to realize that, wait a minute, I got more time, but I didn't get good time. So those are some things to think about. When you look at the week on, week off, that can work, but definitely not suggested until the kid starts getting in that middle third of life, or the later part of life, in the child life is what I'm saying. And additionally, you know, what I will also say is, let's say that you do a split week. So in my situation, we do a split week where Wednesday is the always switch day. So it's always been after daycare, after school, or noon. If it's summertime, my child comes back to me, and then I have him all the way through Saturday noon. And then every other week that extends into Sunday noon. So both parents get to have weekend time with him on alternating weekends. And we also both have some set time in the week as far as what the schedule is. Now, my son's very clued up on the schedule. He always knows. It's been very consistent. And at this point, I don't really think that either his dad or I really want to change that. So for now, you know, we're just going to keep, you know, doing what we're doing because it works. It's also easy. In a former life, I was a project manager, and when I was going through divorce and they plopped down all these different options, right? The 223s and then this and that and blah, 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 blah. I literally went, absolutely not. There's no way I'm going to project manage my custody arrangement with my child when I already have to project manage all the rest of my life. That was not going to be feasible for me. Sometimes it can be a little tricky remembering what day is it? Was this my day? Was it this week? Whatever. And that's why something that's set in stone makes it easy. I will also say, from the child's perspective, you probably don't want to keep doing the 2-2-3 off-on thing as they start becoming teenagers, because it will be very much back and forth for them. Even in that middle third, sometimes it can be tricky. For some kids, it's really good. For some kids, they feel like they are a ping pong ball, right? Ping ponging back and forth between the parents. We decided on a split week because we wanted to limit the ping ponging, and we wanted to feel like he could come to our house, get a little settled in, and then, you know, when he went to the other house, he still had a little time to get settled in there as well. So there's different approaches that you can take to this, along different ways. You can always look to kind of change things up. But what I will tell you is this: you need to make sure that when you go to court for the very first time, you get as much as you absolutely want, okay? Because it will be much harder for you in the future to come back and say, I want more. Like if you ended up saying, you know what, the wife or, you know, the dad can have, you know, 70% of the time, but then, you know, what happens, you come back and say, you know what, I'm not good with only my 30%, I want more. Chances are it's going to be a real uphill battle to make that change in the future. So definitely take a look at your situation, take a look at what, you know, works for you and what doesn't work well for you, and figure out, you know, how that kind of plays. Now, when we looked at the split week and who would get him the first part of the week and the back half of the week, in our situation, you know, for me, I was more in that 9-to-5 job, or 9-to-5, 8-to-5, where the back part of the week started to be a little bit slower for me, and I was able to take on the weekend stuff of soccer activities, stuff like that, whereas his dad had the front part of the week where he actually had a day off of work, and then for him, he actually had more weekend work. So that's why we kind of went in that direction, and it's worked out well for us. It's pretty easy. And then additionally, what we've done by having one of our switch days during the week, especially tied to school, it makes it so that we actually only have to interface with each other once a week instead of multiple times a week. So if you're in a contentious situation, then meeting them multiple times a week can actually aggravate things, and try to find a way that you can do swaps that make it just kind of a natural part of the kid's day. I hope this helps. definitely, you know, like this video if you liked it, or follow and subscribe to my channel. I'm going to keep doing more stuff on this. And otherwise, you can follow me on my Instagram at Talk to Palace, and have a great day.